Hello everyone, welcome to free crash course for competitive exams held by Virat Hindustan Sangam in association with Manifest IAS Bengaluru. This program is inspired by Dr. Subramaniam Swamy and it is convened by Sri Ravi Shankar Sir, State Education Convener for VHS Karnataka branch, and he is also the President of Good Neighbors India NGO. So you can watch this program online on the YouTube channel of Virat Hindustan Sangam, also on the YouTube channel of Udyan News Karnataka. For further any queries and free mentoring regarding any competitive exams, you can join our Telegram channel VHS Education Forum, right? So, and I'm the chief mentor of your program. I've been mentoring competitive exam aspirants for past 5 years. So, this is your pedagogy. So, we are dealing in this order, right? Okay. So, let's begin the class. So, we were talking about economic inequality. What do you mean by inequality? So, inequality can be in various aspects. It can be gender inequality, caste inequality, age inequality, social inequality, right? So, technological inequality, so many inequalities can be there. Out of all the inequalities, the most stark inequality is the economic inequality. Means what? The rich people will have more resources and poor will have less resources, right? So rich will get richer, poor will become poorer. That is inequality. So yesterday we discussed reasons for inequality and what are the sectoral measures. Sectoral measures that are taken in various sectors, right? Today we will talk about the concept of inclusive growth, right? So what is inclusive growth? Growth which is inclusive of everybody, all sections of the population. So it might be rich or poor, both sections, and also both of them should grow. Gender, male, female and transgenders, all of them should grow, or growth should have benefits for all of them. And age, young population, middle-aged population, working population, also aged population, widow population, all should have the benefits of growth. Then caste, every caste, lower caste, upper caste, Dalits, everybody should benefit out of growth. Rural and urban, urban and semi-urban population should also benefit from growth. And digital, so those who are aware of the digital means, and those who are not aware of the digital means, everybody should benefit out of the growth process, right? So this is the concept of inclusive growth. So what are the measures taken by the government in order to promote inclusive growth? So with respect to rich and poor, what is the measure? Taxation. So rich are taxed and the money is given to the poor. So that is one, that is the concept of inclusive growth. With respect to gender, we have gender budgeting. So means if whatever the money allotted in the budget, how much of that money will be helpful for women, right? So that is the concept of gender budgeting. Gender budgeting is a very important concept. Government allots money to various schemes, right? Out of those various schemes, how much of it will go to the women, right? So that is the concept of gender budgeting. And age, with respect, in order to tap the demographic dividend. Demographic dividend means what? Tapping the energy of the working age population. So India has the highest number of working age population in the world. What is the working age population? It is said to be from 15 to 64. But on the other hand, it is also said to be 15 to 59, right? But this is considered to be working age population. So India has the highest number of working age population. In 2020, the average age of Indians was 29 years. So India is said to be the youngest country. So in order to tap that, what are the measures we are doing? We have Skill India Mission is there. We are providing education. We are providing job opportunities under various schemes. All are the measures with respect to inclusive growth. With respect to age. Caste, we have scholarship schemes. We have tribal tri-fed scheme is there. PM Pradhan Mantri Van Bandhu Yojana is there with respect to tribals. And SC/ST population, we have SC/ST scholarship is there, right? So Dalit capitalism is there. NS, National Scheduled Caste Financial Development Corporation is there. And with respect to rural urban, what are the measures? We have Pura providing urban facility in rural area. This facility is there, and we are under Amrut scheme. We are developing 500 cities, right? And Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana is there. Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, under which rural areas are being developed. So all are the schemes with respect to developing the rural area. With respect to digital divide means very few population know how to operate a digital device, right? Whereas other population are not aware of it. In order to curb that, in order to bridge the digital divide, what we are doing, we are having this scheme PMG Disha. This is focusing on at the rural level how to increase the digital literacy. This scheme is focusing on that. So this is with respect to inclusive growth. Next, you have the social security schemes. What are the social security schemes? Social security with respect to food with respect, social security means what? Government is providing security, or government is providing the basic necessities with respect to various fields. So that is society. Government is providing security to the society so that nobody will sleep hungry, so that nobody will fall into poverty. So this is the concept of social security. Government provides food, healthcare, pension, insurance, right? Various other schemes, and even housing, right? Employment, everything. So food, we have National Food Security Act is there. Health, we have Ayushman Bharat is there. Insurance, we have Pradhan Mantri, various schemes are there. Bima Yojanas, we have Krishi Bima Yojana. So we have so many Bima Yojanas, insurance schemes. For example, Atal Pension Yojana is there. And so there are even your Lagu Vyapari Mandan Yojana is there. All of these schemes talk about the insurance and pension towards the poor sections. So next you have Shram Yogi Mandan Yojana. So Shram Yogi Mandan Yojana, it is a pension scheme. So with respect to unorganized sector. So what is unorganized sector? Unorganized sector is that sector which is not registered with the government. Those who are not paying taxes, those who are not getting any social benefits, social security benefits, insurance, pension, PF, provident fund, all these things. So those are the unorganized sector. For example, your chaiwalas, your roadside street vendors, the vegetable vendors, all of them come under the unorganized sector. So this scheme provides social security for them. After they cross the 60 years, every month they will get 3,000 rupees pension. Who are eligible? 18 to 40 years. Persons from 18 to 40 years is eligible, and those should be within 15,000 income. Their income should be within 15,000. Only those people are eligible. So under social security, government is providing social safety net. Means what? So it is net means government is going to knit a net. So if somebody is falling into poverty, they are going to fall into the net. Government is going to catch them. So that is the social security net government is providing in various sectors, right? Okay. Next you have globalization and inequality. Globalization means what? Interconnecting of India with various countries across the world. So there is increased movement of trade, increased movement of people, increased digital connectivity, increased physical connectivity, right? So that is globalization. So how does it breed inequality? So it is said that with globalization happened post 1991. So post 1991 there was a tide, huge tide. So this tide lifted all people, just like how a tide lifts all the boats. It is said that globalization tide lifted all people out of poverty. However, this is the one theory, that is rising tide of income, that globalization lifted everybody's income. Whereas on the other hand, there is one more theory which says that globalization led to unequal distribution. I'll give you one example. Because of globalization, a lot of foreign money came into IT sector. Those who are skilled in IT sector, those who know about IT, they progressed, whereas other sections, did not progress. So it led to unequal income distribution. Globalization did not benefit everybody. That is one thing, right? So with respect to China, how did globalization affect China? Right? So how did it affect India? See, in Chinese globalization, what happened? China focused on providing skills to everybody. It tried to skill up all kinds of population, right? So even though globalization happened in China, it is called as market government, state-led market capitalism. That is state-led market economy. That is, in India, the market economy, that is liberal economy, is not state-led. It is automatic, right? Whereas in China, it is state-led market economy. So when China opened the economy for globalization, actually they tried to skill all kinds of population, poor, rich, all sections of population. But even then in China, not everybody is equally benefited from globalization. Similar is the case of India. Even in India, we do not see globalization benefiting the agricultural sector. We do not see globalization benefiting the street vendors or unorganized sector. So this is the concept of globalization and inequality. Next you have hyper-globalization. What is hyper-globalization? So the hyper-globalization means non-inclusive growth at macro level. Macro level means what? Macroeconomy. Macroeconomy means at the national level. At the national level, if there is no inclusive growth, at the national level, there is no, means what? If you look at the macroeconomic numbers, that is employment, education, skills, all these things, at this level there is non-inclusivity, means not everybody is equally benefiting at the macroeconomic level. So no employment intensity. It means that not everybody is benefiting out of globalization. That is how hyper-globalization. So there is no employment intensity. Employment is not growing. Growth is happening. We are growing at 8 to 9%. However, that growth is not employment intensive growth. It is called jobless growth. Growth is happening at 8 to 9%. But is it creating more employment? No. So when the employment is not being created, it is called jobless growth, also a feature of hyper-globalization. So there is no employment intensity, and also it is leading to hyper-globalization, is leading to informalization. That is, informal economy is growing. Informal economy, I already told you, those who are not registered, those who are not paying taxes. So because of hyper-globalization, informal economy is growing, right? This is the concept of hyper-globalization and informalization. Next you have speculative market. This is speculative market, is also a feature of globalization and inequality. What is speculative market? It is making guesses in the market, whether this industry is going to go up today, whether the other industry is going to go down. So on this basis, let's say you have Ukraine-Russia war. So based on this war, they are going to predict oil prices is going to go up. So based on that, they are going to make invest. So that is speculative market. Because of globalization, there is increased speculative investment in India. Because of speculative investment, what happens? Under speculative investment, rich will become richer. So even if poor person, where is speculative market investment taking place? In the stock market. So in the stock market, rich will invest, they will speculate and take more money, whereas poor will not have the skill. They do not have the skill, they do not have the education, they will invest the money in stock market and they will lose the money. So speculative market, rich will become richer, because that is the globalization and inequality, one concept. Next you have trade wars. Because of globalization, there is lot of trade wars. Trade wars between, now you have between China and Russia, China and USA, there was trade war. That is China, USA imposing ban on Chinese goods. In turn, even India started stopping the Chinese apps and banning certain Chinese goods, right? So that is the concept of trade wars. So trade wars is happening because of globalization, because of which there is inequality among the countries. So USA is more equal. China and poor countries, not China, poor countries are less equal. So there is inequality among the countries. Some countries are rich, other countries are poor because of trade war. Next you have protectionism. Protectionism, the best example is Donald Trump's America for Americans. America for Americans. What is this America for Americans? Under this, so all the jobs in America should go to Americans. So we should buy only American products. We should not import. This is the concept of America for Americans, under which Donald Trump actually stopped giving H-1B visas to Indians or Chinese, right? So protectionism is also leading to inequality among the countries. So this is the concept of globalization and inequality. Next you have artificial intelligence and inequality. How does artificial intelligence lead to inequality? One is this will lead to job loss, right? Because of artificial intelligence, all the machinery will become automatic, because of which many people who are working manually, they will lose their jobs, right? That is first type of inequality. Next, because of artificial intelligence, what they happen? It will lead to capital intensive growth. People will, rich people will invest more in the capital and they are going to build more and more machines. So they will become richer at the cheapest cost, right? Because if they employ the people, they have to give salary. So they here they need not give salary. So rich will become richer. So artificial intelligence will also lead to breed inequality. That is one thing. Next, even for example, if there is now Indians going into various countries and working in those countries, right? When artificial intelligence come, all the Indians or most of the Indians, they will lose their jobs to the machines. So they have to come back, right? So that is the concept of artificial intelligence, how it breeds inequality. Next, pandemics and inequality. So we have till now faced Spanish flu, Zika virus, SARS virus, MERS virus, so many things till today. So that is also breeding inequality. How? Because see, this pandemic, COVID pandemic, 100 million people were pushed into poverty. 100 million is 10 crore people were pushed into poverty. Why? Because of pandemic, they have to invest in healthcare. They will lose their employment. They have to spend on finding food, right? So because of all these things, 10 crore people became poor because of pandemic. This is how the pandemic bred inequality. Not only economic inequality, even gender inequality. Women suffered at homes, domestic violence, right? So this is how pandemic bred the inequality in the COVID times. Next you have unemployment. We will talk about the concept of unemployment. So what is unemployment? So unemployment is defined by International Labour Organization, right? So unemployment means those who are willing to work but not finding any work, right? There is one is employed force, labor force, or not employed force, labor force, and those who are trying for work. So unemployment is those who want to work. They have the skills, they want to work, but they are not finding the work. That is the concept of unemployment, right? So we have various types of unemployment. The first type of unemployment is, so first we have to talk about the unemployment scenario in India. See, since independence, India has been persistently facing the crisis of unemployment. No government was able to solve unemployment completely. No matter we make Skill India Mission, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, whatever we make, Manrega, any scheme we make, still we are not able to solve the problem of unemployment. As per recent data, 4 years back, leaked data, the unemployment rate today is around 6%. So 5-6 years back, unemployment rate, it is said to be highest in 45-year highest. It had reached the 45-year highest 5-6 years back, according to leaked data by NSSO leaked data, right? It was not released. So this is the scenario of unemployment in India, right? Next, you have the concepts, various concepts of unemployment. The first concept is cyclical unemployment. So you have to understand, cyclical means, see, first you have to understand business cycle. Business cycle will be something like this, going like this. So here you have boom. So here you have recession. Here slowdown. Slowdown. This portion is slowdown. This is growth. Right? So this is cyclical. This is how the business cycle moves. So cyclical unemployment is when the business cycle is at the recession level, at the lower level, then people will lose employment. This is the concept of cyclical unemployment. So in the cyclical unemployment, there is no demand in the economy because there is recession. How there will be demand in the economy during recession? So that is why there is no demand in the economy, that will lead to unemployment, cyclical unemployment, and this is based on business cycle what I have drawn here, and this is a short term phenomena. Short term. This unemployment is not long term. This will get over in the short term. Why? Because government will push Keynesian economics, is going to invest money. They are going to do pump priming, put lot of money in the economy, and business cycle will go up again and employment will go up again, right? So this is the concept of cyclical unemployment. Next you have structural unemployment. Structural unemployment means there is a sectoral change. Sectoral change. So the best example I can give you for structural unemployment is, see, earlier there was Kirana shops. Kirana shops means your departmental store, provision stores. After this big basket, grocers, Amazon, all these things, though their employment, their work is getting reduced. They are facing losses. So there is a change in structure. So employment sector. So there is a sectoral change from brick and mortar shop. Brick and mortar means physical store to electronic store, right? This is leading to unemployment. This is structural unemployment. So you have to note down these points, very, very important. So when tech base of the economy changes, technical base, technological base of the economy changes. So you can take the example of industrial revolution as well. So before industrial revolution, there was put out system. Put out system means there used to be one person used to give work to another person, that is putting out the work. They used to take the work to their home, do the work, come back and give the work, take money. Whereas after industrial revolution, the technological base changed from home based to factory based. So technological base change. Similarly, that is a structural change. Similarly, when from the brick and mortar shop to e-commerce, there is a structural change. This is the technological base of when economies technological base changes, that is structural unemployment. So under this, existing skills get outdated, right? That is, for example, you have the concept of typewriter. So now typewriter is outdated. So those who had learned all the shorthand, all the typewriter, those have become outdated, right? So skills will get outdated with the structural unemployment. Next you have seasonal unemployment. What is seasonal unemployment? So for this, the best example is agriculture. So except for the Kharif season, Rabi season and Zaid season, there is no other work except when sowing and harvesting. Apart from these times, there is no work. In those gap time is called seasonal unemployment. Seasonally, every year, that particular season, the people will get unemployed. So that is why government introduced this the concept of Manrega, when there is no employment in the agricultural sector. Next you have disguised unemployment. Disguised or hidden unemployment means what? Under disguised unemployment, I have already discussed, giving the example of farm sector. See, there is a farm, one hectare farm. So only one person is sufficient to work for this entire farm efficiently. So instead of one person, other 2 persons will not have work, they will also join work. So here they seem to be having work, but they are not necessary there. This is the concept of disguised or hidden unemployment. Next you have underemployment. Underemployment means what? See, suppose there is a engineer. He will, instead of doing engineering work, he will come and do some construction work, daily wage work. So he is very well qualified to work in an IT company. Instead of that, he is doing construction work, right? So it means his quality of work is low. So that is underemployment. He is not utilizing his skills. So this is the concept of underemployment. Next you have frictional unemployment. What is frictional unemployment? See, I am already employed in some company, but I am not satisfied with the salary or work culture or the environment. So I will be looking for better job, right? So that is the looking for a better job while having a job is called frictional unemployment. You have friction with the existing employment, so you are looking for a better job, that is frictional unemployment. So next you have natural rate of unemployment or full employment. So full employment means what? So everybody who wants to work is have work. If 100 people are there, all of them want to do work, all of them will get work. That is the concept of full employment. So full employment is also called as natural rate of unemployment. Natural rate of unemployment also called as full employment. Everybody wants to work, will have work. So what are the causes of unemployment? Why unemployment? One is too much dependence on agriculture, then there is no sufficient education, then there is no sufficient skills, then there is your health is not supporting the work, right? And there is no enough employment opportunities, right? So all these are the reasons for unemployment. There is no government support for creating jobs. Then there are regional variations. Suppose there is lot of work available in Bangalore, not same in the village or taluk level. All these are the reasons for unemployment. So what are the consequences of unemployment? Because of unemployment, it will lead to less income, right? It will lead to psychological issues. It will lead to increased number of suicides. It will lead to less consumption. It will lead to bad health. It will lead to poverty. It will lead to hunger, right? It will lead to increased domestic violence. So all these things are it may lead to riot against the government. When you don't have employment, you might get pulled towards terrorism. So also you might protest against the government asking for employment. So all these are the consequences of unemployment. So there are various unemployment estimates. So primarily NSSO is the organization which measures unemployment in India. It measures once in 5 years. National Sample Survey Organization measures unemployment once in 5 years in India. This is the first estimate. Apart from that, there is Indian Labour Bureau. Indian Labour Bureau estimates the unemployment in India, but here National Sample Survey, they do collect the data on their own. They go to the villages, they go to the industries, collect the data, gather the data. Whereas Indian Labour Bureau, they depend on the state data. they collect the data from state labor departments and put out the whatever the unemployment number that is there. That is the Indian Labour Bureau data. Next you have periodic labor force survey. So this is the most important data with respect to unemployment. Most important. Periodic labor force survey. This is the most important one with respect to unemployment data. What is periodic labor force survey? So this survey is done by MOSPI, means Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. This ministry carries out the PLFS, periodic labor force survey. So this was started in 2017-18. 2017-18 this survey was started. So here it rural and urban areas, it does quarterly it is going to urban area it is going to take quarterly data. Urban area quarterly, every quarter, every 3 months. What is the unemployment? Rural area and urban area both, it will give yearly unemployment data, periodic labor force data conducted by MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Next you have the classification. So classification of unemployment, rural employment, urban employment, rural unemployment, urban unemployment is there, right? So that is the first classification. Then you have formal employment and informal employment. I have already discussed. So this is also mostly called as, informal is also called as unorganized unemployment, right? Rural employment, urban, formal and informal. Formal means those who are registered with the government, those who are paying taxes, those who are enrolled in social security, right? Those who have the license to carry out. This is formal. So whoever doesn't fall into this is called informal or unorganized, right? But there was one survey which says that which calculated the social security. Social security means what? Pension, insurance, right? All these things. Pension, insurance, medical insurance, life insurance, provident fund, all these things are social security. So when some organization measured the social security data in India, it found out that 31% of the population, 31% is the formal employment in India. Formal. So, but generally we perceive that unorganized sector or informal employment in India is up to 90%. So, if 100 employees are there, only 10 employees are formal employees. 90 employees are informal employees, right? So, 90%, 10%. But if we measure the social security, whoever have taken the social security, so only 31% is formal, rest 69% is informal. But if you take the tax coverage, 54% is formal. According to tax data, 54% is formal, those who file income tax, and informal is 46%. So there is a divergence. How much of Indian economy is formal and informal? So formal, what is formal? I told you, it is registered in the government records. Government record only they have to have registration. And next you have formal, informal, organized and unorganized. So similar. Those sectors which are organized well means what? You have this organized, you have this definition. So those who employ more than 20 people and do not use power, even though they don't use power, this is called organized. 20 people criteria. And also some other industry which uses power, it uses power, employs just 10 people. That is also organized. So 10 people with power, 20 people without power, industry can be called as organized. If the industry uses power to manufacture some goods, that is what I meant here. Don't use power, 20 people are there, organized, or use power, 10 people are there, it is called organized. So whatever doesn't fall in under this category is unorganized employment. So informal employment is equated to unorganized employment. So there is no proper division. So generally informal and unorganized are used interchangeably, right? So there is a, what is a conceptual framework? How do you measure the unemployment? So the conceptual framework is, first is usual activity status. Usual activity status means what? In the past 365 days. Past 365 days, if a person is actively employed for at least 1 hour per day, 1 hour per day. So he is, according to usual activity status, in 365 days, if a person is employed at least 1 hour, he is considered to be employed. He is having work anta. So next is counting the employment, current weekly activity status. Current week, this week's activity status. In the 7 days, if a person has these many hours, if he has worked these many hours, he is considered to be employed under current weekly activity status. Next you have current daily activity status. It measures 24 hours. Out of 24 hours, if a person is working for these many hours, he is considered to be employed. These are the metrics or measures to measure the employment. Next you have labor force. Labor force, the formal definition I told you, 15 to 59. Those who are in the age bracket of 15 to 59 is called as labor force. So under this labor force, it includes both employed people and unemployed people. Labor force doesn't mean those who don't have only have work, doesn't mean the labor force. Labor force includes both who are employed and unemployed. Suppose I am unemployed, I am looking for some work, right? That also includes the labor force. Suppose I am looking for work, that will lead to unemployment. I am also counted under labor force. So you have employed and unemployed data under labor force, right? So this should be under unemployment, they should be willing to work. Labor force, you need to remember labor force, it is employed plus unemployed. Unemployed, they should be looking for work or and willing to work. They should be ready to work, right? They should be ready to work. That is the concept of labor force. Don't think that labor force is just those who are employed, right? There is a proper definition for it. Next, you have labor force participation ratio. What is labor force participation ratio? Under this labor force LFPR. LFPR is those who are employed to complete labor force. Employed plus unemployed. This is the labor force participation ratio, right? Okay. Then you have one more concept, workforce. This is the difference. See, labor force and workforce. Labor force, employed and unemployed. Under workforce, those who are only working are considered as workforce, right? This is the difference. Then you have unemployment rate. What is unemployment rate? So unemployment rate is unemployment in labor force to total labor force. See here, labor force participation ratio, we took those who are employed to employed plus unemployed. Whereas unemployment rate is those who are unemployed by complete labor force, that is employed plus unemployed, both. This is unemployment rate. unemployed people to employed plus unemployment is the unemployment rate formula, right? Next, we will move towards Phillips curve. Inflation and underemployment, very, very important. It says that if inflation increases, unemployment decreases. This is the concept of Phillips curve. How the Phillips curve is drawn. So it goes something like this. So here is unemployment. Here you have inflation, right? So inflation is high. This curve will be something like this. Phillips curve, very, very important. So if inflation is high, unemployment is low. That is, more people are employed. If inflation is low, more people are unemployed. So it means what? Inflation should be high for the unemployment to be low, or employment to be high. So that is the concept of Phillips curve. Track between, they will ask you, Phillips curves measure what and what? It measures inflation versus unemployment. That is the concept. Next you have jobless growth. What is the concept of jobless growth? I told you growth is happening. We are growing at 9.2%, but this is not leading to creating of jobs. Why? Because one is growth is concentrated in specific sectors, that is IT sector. So not everybody is qualified to be in IT sector. So that is why there is joblessness in other sector, and also manufacturing sector there is no creation of jobs. Then rich are becoming richer, poor are becoming poorer, that is also there. Then there is no skills. There is no skills to be employed. Then there is no qualified graduates. I told you, if 10 people graduate, only 4 are eligible to be employed, right? So there is no qualified graduates, right? And what else? There is low health, malnutrition. So all these reasons, and also people are focusing on capital intensive and means not labor intensive. Capital intensive means they will put lot of machinery and remove the workers. Machines will do the work, or they will keep only minimum workers. So capital intensive growth, that is also the reason for jobless growth. Growth is happening, but there is no creation of jobs, right? Okay. Next you have the concept of employment intensity of growth. Means what? What is the concept of employment intensity of growth? Means with growth, how much employment is getting created? Growth is happening, how much employment it is creating with the growth, economic growth. That is the employment intensity of growth, right? Government, there is lot of investment in the economy, and the sectors will grow, product GDP will grow, everything will happen. We will take a particular sector. Does this help in increasing the employment in the textile sector? Earlier textile sector, only 100 jobs are there. With growth, does that number increase to 150? Does the employment increase? That is the employment intensity of growth. How much employment the growth is going to create, right? What are the measures to increase the employment intensity of growth? What are the measures? One is we have Skill India mission. We are skilling more and more people to get employed. Then we are making people to move away from agriculture, find job in non-farm employment, that is there. Apart from that, what else? We are focusing on quality education. Then industry university linkage, industry college linkage. Then Government is Make in India. Make in India scheme is there in order to create more and more employment, right? These are the measures to increase the employment intensity of growth. Next you have the concept of labor productivity. What is the concept of labor productivity? It means how much output will a person give for a given amount of input. Means there is a carpenter. You are going to train him in making sofas. So that is the input you will give. Along with that, you will give him food, you will give him salary. Out of that, how much sofas he is going to create? That is the productivity. Whether he is going to create more number of sofas, quality sofas, right? That is the output of sofas per unit of input. Means per 100 rupees salary. If you give him 100 rupees salary, how much sofas he is going to manufacture? How much output he is going to produce? That is the output per unit of input. That is labor productivity, utpadakate, right? So what are the dependent factors for increasing the productivity? Increasing the productivity, what are the dependent factors? One is technology, good amount of technology. Then skill, right? Skill should be there. Then good salary should be there. Good health should be there. Good education should be there. Good government policy should be there. Good social security should be there. Good personal life should be there. All these will lead to, these are the labor productivity depends on all these factors. If all these factors are good, productivity will be good. So there is a need for boosting productivity. So I told you productivity, we can take the example of farm sector. Farm sector, there is very less growth, right? So one acre, they are, let's say, growing only 1 bag of rice, right? If you take the example of China or USA, in 1 acre, they will be growing 3 to 4 times more. So we need to increase the productivity. We need to boost the productivity. How do we boost the productivity? By, if we take the example of agriculture itself, by putting high yield variety seeds, increasing irrigation, right? Giving loans to farmer, right? All these things, and giving a good quality fertilizer subsidy, so we can increase the productivity, right? Next you have labor law reforms. So whatever the labor is there in Indian scenario, Indian industries, for them they are governed by the labor laws. Earlier there were many labor laws. What were they? Minimum Wages Act, right? Minimum Wages Act, Equal Remuneration Act, Bonus Act, Wages Act, then Industrial Dispute Act, right? Factories Act, right? Child Labor Act, Coal Mine Act. So all these focused on the labor. Equal remuneration, yes, I have written. So all these are the labor laws we have. But now we have reformed the labor laws because there was too much difficulty. There were too much problems in the labor laws, because of which we have reformed the labor laws. We have codified it into very small number of laws so that it becomes easy for the executors, that is labor department people, so that it becomes easy for the industry, so that it becomes easy for the employees. Everybody, there will be easy. The working environment will become more and more easy. So it will increase what? It will increase ease of doing business, right? So first you have Apprentice Act. So the recent act I am going to discuss with respect to labor in 5, 6, 7 years, whatever has been done. One, you have Apprentice Act. What do you mean by Apprentice Act? Apprentice, what do you mean by apprentice? Apprentice means the person will be hired directly and he will be given on the job training. So he will be given what? Stipend. Stipend and on the job training. That is the meaning of apprentice. So he can access all the machineries. He can experiment. Right? So he will be earning also, he will be learning also. That is the concept of Apprentice Act. What does this act do? It will make the apprentice, hiring of apprentice easy. So it increases apprentice seats, increases the apprentice number of jobs in apprenticeship. That is one. Increases stipend. It puts rules. What should be the rule for apprenticeship? So under apprenticeship, there is no guarantee employment. 1 year they are going to give training and after that you have to find your own employment. So how to govern apprenticeship? Apprentice is how you are going to conduct, right? What are the rules? So everything is spoken under the Apprenticeship Act. Next you have Code on Wages Act. This is very important act. Code on Wages Act. So now, there were too many acts under labor laws. There were too many acts. So everything is codified into 4 laws now. Under the 4 laws, the first law is Code of Wages Act. Code of Wages Act 2019. So it subsumed various acts. What are the acts it was subsumed? First is Minimum Wages Act, it subsumed, and Equal Remuneration Act, it subsumed. Subsumed means instead of that, this came. This act was converted into this act. So this included the earlier acts also. So Equal Remuneration Act, Payment of Bonus Act, Payment of Wages Act. These 4 acts were converted into one code. That code is Code on Wages Act 2019. So it focused on a minimum wage. It focused on minimum wage. What is the concept of minimum wage? Minimum wage means that wage at which the person will be able to afford the minimum basic requirements: food, cloth and shelter. Food, clothing and shelter. Basic requirements if a person is able to afford and maintain a average or minimum level of living, minimum standard of living. That is the minimum wage, concept of minimum wage, right? So who sets this minimum wage? It is set by the central government. So above this, state governments can set their own minimum wage, right? So earlier this minimum wage was applicable only for 40% of the workforce. 40% of the workforce minimum wage was applicable. Under this Code of Wages Act, the rest 60% informal, where informal sector was not given the minimum wage. So under this Code of Wages Act, 100% of the workforce, formal, informal, organized, unorganized, everybody is eligible for the minimum wage. Not only them, the contract workers, gig economy, contract workers. So contract workers are also eligible for minimum wage. So there is a national minimum wage given by the central government. Okay. So why national minimum wage? There were 2000 different rates of minimum wages, because of which government gave one minimum wage, right? So not only this, not only the minimum wage, the Code of Wages Act also focuses on timely payment. You will pay the wages, but that should be paid timely every month. That also this code speaks about, and it also has a provision. See, earlier with respect to minimum wage, there was labor inspectors. Labor inspectors used to go and inspect the industries. Now it has been under this Code of Wages Act, they have converted it into inspector cum facilitators. Now there is a concept of inspector cum facilitator. Means what? He is going to facilitate the industry, right? He is no more an inspector. He will facilitate. You are an industry owner. If you have any problem, the facilitator is going to help you. If you want to close down your industry, facilitator will help you. So you have this concept. See, why labor codes are actually stringent in India means if you are employing more than 100 persons, if you want to either close down the industry or if you want to fire people, you need government permission. So that is why permission. So this is why the ease of doing business is very less in India, right? This is aimed to be changed now. There need not be any government permission, right? So next, this minimum wage is revised every 5 years. National minimum wage is revised every 5 years. So both organized and unorganized people, formal and informal people, also contract workers, gig workers. So contract workers means what? Those who are not permanent employees. They are hired on contract. They are also eligible for minimum wage. Even gig economy. Gig economy means what? Your Ola, Uber, all these are gig economies, right? Even your Urban Clap. So if you want a hairdresser, you go to Urban Clap app, you book a hairdresser, he will come and do haircut and go. So that is also gig economy, right? They will ask you, what is gig economy? So what is the benefits of this Code of Wages Act? So one is, there is a proper minimum wage. It includes 100% of workforce, right? Then it includes a timely payment of wages, and code is simplified. Then there is a concept of facilitator instead of inspector. Then you have it increases ease of doing business. It will provide easy exit route for industries, those who want to close down. All these are the benefits of the Code of Wages Act. Next you have Maternity Benefit Act 2017. Maternity Benefit Act. So actually this act is from 1961. So even this was an older act. Apprentice Act was an older one. This was an Amendment Act. So here Maternity Benefit also, it is an Amendment Act 2017. What did they do? Earlier there was 12 weeks of maternity leave. Now it is increased to 26 weeks. 26 weeks. So for who are eligible? Those industry who are employing 10 or more people. 10 or more employees, that industry is eligible 26 weeks for first and second child. And for third child, it is 12 weeks again. Not only your own child. If you adopt somebody, if you undergo surrogacy, surrogacy means what? Surrogacy means they are going to take the egg from the woman and it is going to be fertilized putting into some other woman. So your own baby will be, so you are going to hire the stomach, hire the womb, because you have some problems. What you will do? They are going to take your ovum and inject it into some other woman who is ready to be a surrogate mother. So there your baby will grow. After the baby is born, it will be handed over to you. So surrogacy also you have this maternity leave, right? So this also covers adopted babies and it also covers work from home. So under this maternity benefit, there is a provision of work from home. You can take these 26 weeks, 8 weeks before delivery and rest after delivery. So there is a concept of work from home. You can work from home also, and there is a need for, at every industry, a crèche. Crèche means cradle, tottilu. That facility should be there. There should be proper caretaker, right? That facility should be given. What is the eligibility? You should work for at least 90 days in the past 180 days at the employee. Just now you go and join the work, you claim maternity benefit, you won't get. You should have worked at least 90 days out of the past 6 months, right? This is Maternity Benefit Act. Next you have labor law reforms. What is the need? So apart from that, the second act, one is Code of Wages Act, the second act is Industrial Dispute Act. Industrial Dispute Act. This is the second act with respect to labor law reforms. The third act is So, this is Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So what is this? It deals with disputes in the industry, strikes, lockdown. If there is trade union protest, everything will be dealt under the Industrial Dispute Act. Then you have Contract Labor Act 1970. It deals with the contract labor, those who are hired on a temporary basis, 1970 Act. So the new labor codes are, one is Code of Wages Act, which I have already discussed. Second is Industrial Relations Code. This is the second act, second code, Industrial Relations Code. The third one is Social Security Code. See, what does this Industrial Relations Code do? It does the same thing what this Industrial Dispute Act does. That is solving the dispute, right? That is the concept. Next, you have Social Security Code. What does it do? It deals with the insurance. It deals with pension. It deals with provident fund, right? All these things will be dealt under Social Security Code. Not only that, you have the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code. That is, you are working at a place, that place should be eligible for working. There should not be hazardous machinery. There should not be hazardous chemicals. So that is the Occupational Safety, Health of Workers, Working Conditions Code. So it is dealt under your DPSP as well, Directive Principle of State Policy. Article 41, 42 speaks about it, right? These are set to replace, see, these four codes which I discussed, they will replace the 29 labor laws till now. 29 labor laws will be converted into just 4 codes. Next, we have the concept of child labor in India. Child labor. What are the problems with respect to child labor? So, child labor means, so those who are below 14 years. So, below 18 years is also called child labor, but 14 to 18 is called adolescent. So, child labor, India has the one of the highest percentage of child labor in India. Why child labor? Because there is lot of poverty, there is lack of education, parents are not aware, there is lack of good schooling facility, there is the concept of dropout from schools, and also children. So there is need for extra money for the family. Because of all these reasons, there is a problem of child labor in India, right? It is a huge problem, right? Who is the person who has worked with respect to child labor in India? It is Kailash Satyarthi, who got Nobel Prize. Kailash Satyarthi, his organization is Bachpan Bachao Andolan. Bachpan Bachao Andolan. He got Nobel Prize for taking maximum children out of child labor, right? So there are, see, 10 million people even today, 10 million, that is 1 crore children are below 14 years are employed. They are in child labor in various states, right? 60% of them are in agriculture. Out of 10 crore or 1 crore, 60 lakh are in agriculture. So, non-farm work is also increasing. Not only in agriculture, you take the non-farm. That may be BD industry, that may be cracker industry, right? Bangle industry, this incense stick, Udgadi industry, everywhere child labor is increasing. Non-farm and work also is increasing. What are the causes? Causes is said by UNICEF, United Nations Children Fund. So I told you the causes: lack of awareness, lack of education, poverty, hunger, right? Need of extra income, exploitation, all these, no proper government policy, lack of regulation. All these are the reasons for child labor in India as said by UNICEF. So what are the constitutional protection for child child labor, against child labor. One you have the equality, right to equality, Article 15, right against prohibition of discrimination. Article 15, prohibition of discrimination. This speaks about labor law. Then you have Article 24. Article 24 speaks about prohibiting child labor, specifically fundamental right. Not only this, you have Article 21A, right to education. This speaks about educating the children. Not only this, you have Article 45, 45A, I believe, 45A. So this speaks about educating your children, providing early childhood care, ECCE, early childhood care and education up to 6 years, right? Not only this, you have fundamental duty of providing education to your children, right? All these are the constitutional provisions. Legislative provisions, you have Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan is there, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is there, midday meal scheme is there, right? Diksha portal, Swayam portal, right? What else? Karnataka government Kalinali program. Then you have new education policy is there. So many programs are there in order to promote education in India, right? So child and adult, with respect to child labor, we have this act, Child and Adolescent Labor Act. What is adolescent? 14 to 18 years is called adolescence age, right? Child is up to 14 years. This act, what does this act says? It has certain provisions. It says it prohibits all the employment below 14 years. If you are below 14 years, or you are not eligible to work, except in family based employment. Family based. Suppose your family is making flower garland every day. There you can work, but only after school hours. Only after school hours. This, and also you have audiovisual industry. Children can work in audiovisual industry. That is, all these Saregamapa, Little Champs, all these small movie children working in movies, they can work in that. But it should not affect their schooling. Right? This is the provision of this act. Not only this, with respect to adolescents, it says 14 to 18 years. If you are in this bracket, you cannot work in hazardous industry. You cannot work in hazardous industry. Hazardous means cracker industry or your chemical industry. Those where the life is endangered, right? This is the concept. Next, you have ILO conventions. International Labour Organization. When was it formed? 1919. ILO, after World War I. ILO conventions speak about the child labor. So India recently signed 2 conventions with respect to child labor, very important. 138, 182. Convention number 138, it speaks about minimum age of employment. Convention 138, there should be a minimum age for employment. India has signed this recently. Then you have worst forms of child labor. That is spoken under Convention 182. 182, worst form of child labor. Prostitution, all those things. Child trafficking, right? Flesh trade, all these things. Hazardous industry, pushing children into beggary, all these things, right? Okay. Next you have skill development. When you speak of employment, we should speak of skills. So in India, only 5% of population has skill. Skill in various sectors. Skill means some aptitude for a work, some talent for some work. So that is developed. Engineers has, computer engineer has skill for coding, right? and there are various other carpenter has skill for making wood furniture. So in India only 5% of them have skill. With respect to skill, there is a National Skill Development Mission 2015, right? So this is under Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. There is a separate ministry for skill development. So under this we have this mission. So this is also called as Skill India Mission, right? So what is this National Skill Development Mission? What is the organizing structure? So there is a governing council. There will be a governing council and there will be a steering committee and there will be a mission directorate. There are 3 organs under this mission. Governing council will be headed by the respective minister. Steering committee by secretary. Mission directorate, but technocrats will be there in that. So this also includes National Skill Development Agency. There is one agency under this ministry. Also National Skill Development Corporation also comes under this mission. Not only that, there is Director General of Training, DG Training. He will also come under National Skill Development Mission. Next you have National Skill Development Corporation, right? Who will give the funding for this corporation? National Skill Development Corporation. So it is funded by both public and private, both government and private. Private you have this CII, FICCI, NASSCOM, all these people, right? So also it provides various support services for skilling, right? Skilling in agriculture, skilling in carpentry, skilling in manual work, skilling in industry, every kind of support services is provided by this National Skill Development Corporation. Next you have Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Under this, the aim is to skill 10 million population, that is 1 crore population. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So now under the Skill India Mission, we have trained 1.5 crore people, out of which 50% have got employment under Skill India Mission. Let us look at Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So it targets 1 crore population. There is a National Skill Qualification Framework. Means what? If you acquire some skill, some knowledge, so that should be according to this framework. It is framework means what? It is just like your syllabus, right? So according to this only you will be skilled. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So this comes under, this is executed by National Skill Development Corporation, right? So next you have, what does it focus on? It focuses on short-term training. So this training will not be for years together. It focuses on just 3 to 4 months training. Suppose you are skilling a person in making tires, automobile tires. So it will be for 4 months. You will be skilled and you will be employed, right? Then it recognizes prior learning. Means, see, you are come from a carpenter family or a plumber family. You already know the art of plumbing. So if you have the art of plumbing, if you know it, they will test you. They will give you something and they will ask you to do the plumbing work. If you do it efficiently, immediately without training, you will get the certificate, right? If you already have the plumbing knowledge, that is prior learning, then it conducts Kaushal and Rozgar Mela. Mela means it is like a fair. Everywhere they will conduct this Kaushal and Rozgar Mela many times in a year, and they will provide Rozgar. Rozgar means employment, right? Then it also conducts National Career Service. So if you want employment, there is a National Career Service portal. You can get registered there, right? There is a National Career Service Mela. Then it also gives placement guidelines. Means who are eligible to be placed. what is your qualification to be placed to get a job, and once you get placed, what is the minimum amount of time you should work. So that guidelines, which are the industry which is going to come for placement, everything is given under this. Next, it also monitors, once you are got placement, it will monitor you whether you are working properly, whether you need any more skilling. Not only then, it also monitors you while skill program is taking place, when skilling is taking place, when you are under training, right? So under this, there is a portal called Smart Portal. So PMKVY, there is a portal, electronic portal, you can get registered here for getting access to Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So there are two missions. The mission one is PMKVY 1.0, right? The second mission is PMKVY 2.0. Now we are under 2.0. So we have reached 10 million goal. Now we have this goal. So also we have National Policy for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship 2015. There is a national policy. We focus on a policy. Policy means it gives the broad guidelines how there is the skilling should take place, right? That policy is National Policy for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship 2015 is there. Next, we have, this concept of skill development is over. We will now focus on demographic dividend. So this organization UNFPA, what is the full form of UNFPA? This is United Nations Population Fund. United Nations Population Fund. This defines demographic dividend as that section of population who is eligible to work. So it takes from 14 years to 64 years. Under 14 to 64 years, those population who are eligible to work. What is the percentage of population in a particular country in this age group who are eligible to work? That is the definition of demographic dividend. Demography, it means with respect to people who are eligible to work. Please note down this term, it will be frequently asked. Demographic dividend, right? So India has a high demographic dividend, means what? The number of people in this age group, is high. This age group, they are high, because of which India is a young country. There is lot of economic potential, right? Next, so this is the UNFPA definition, right? So India's demographic dividend is going to stay for another 37 years. That is the highest number of population in 14 to 64 years. It will be there for another 37 years, right? So this is our strongest backbone, right? Next, we will focus on female labor participation rate, labor force participation rate. Means what? If there are 100 women, how many women are participating in labor? That is workforce. How many are employed? It is only 26%. 26%. Why? Why there is less participation? Actually, it was more than 30%. Now it has decreased. There are both positive reasons and negative reasons. So the positive reasons is more women are studying for higher education. So there is less workforce, right? Then the negative reason is after getting married, they are looking after their children and house, right? This is the negative reason, right? So out of this 26%, 95% are there in unorganized and unpaid labor. Means what? Unpaid labor means what? Suppose your mother is there at home, she does all the cleaning work, cooking work, everything. Whether she will be paid for that? No. that is the unpaid care work, right? So out of this, if 26 people are participating out of 100, this is 26%, 95% of the women are in unorganized and unpaid work, right? So next you have this labor force participation is falling, it is decreasing. Why? I told you, both positive reason, negative reason. And government is also empowering women, so they are educating the women more, empowering more. Negative reason, child care, home care, right? Husband's work, all these lead to the fall in participation. What are the steps? Steps is, we can give work from home opportunity, right? This is one. Second is, what can we do with respect to increasing female labor force participation? We have this Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, right? We have third one is Skill India Mission. Fourth, you have Stand Up India. Then you have Mudra Yojana is there. Mudra Yojana. So there are various schemes to increase the, so also we have education, increased education. So one of the positive reason is why women are not employed means they are, many are focusing on research now. Research is not counted under employment, right? So these are the steps to increase the female labor force participation rate. So economic globalization and employment. Globalization happened when? 1991, after which as the employment increased or decreased? Definitely it has increased. Why it has increased? Because there was lot of FDI, there was lot of privatization, right? And there was lot of self-employment and high growth, more bank credit, right? Because of all these reasons, employment has increased both on globalization, not only within India, outside India. I told you the Indian diaspora is 2 crore. 2 crore Indians are living outside. So they are employed across the world. So definitely economic globalization has acted as a positive point, right? Next, we will talk about the global financial architecture. This is all regarding the employment. The concept of employment ends here. Next, you have global financial architecture. So global financial means what? Global, around the world. What is the agencies which are going to look after the finance, right? So first agency is, we will look at the groups first, then institutions, right? The first group is G7, group of 7. So which are the members under group G7? You have USA, USA is there, then Canada is there, then UK, France is there, Germany, Italy is there, then Japan. So these are the countries under G7. So every year, so earlier it was G8 when Russia was there. But after 2014, the same Ukraine crisis was there in 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea. There was one island or one territory of Ukraine called Crimea. It was taken over by Russia. Then Russia was thrown out of G8 and it became G7 again. So every year they will hold summit level. Summit level diplomacy means what? Summit level, the leaders, prime ministers or presidents will come and meet under the summit level diplomacy. So these are the advanced economies, right? They are the most advanced economy of the world, right? These countries. Then there is, they discuss on various issues. They discuss on various issues. What are the issues they discuss upon? right? They discuss on economic issue, right? They discuss on monetary issues, right? Growth issue, pollution, climate issue, everything they will discuss. A trade issue, everything will be discussed by this G7. So India, our Prime Minister was in 2018, there was a summit in France. So our Prime Minister attended it, because though India was not a part of it, as a special invitee, right? So there are also the issues they talk about this G7. It is a advanced economy countries. They focus only on themselves. That is most advanced countries. They don't focus on developing countries. Next you have G10 grouping. So this was formed in 1962. G10. So what is this G10? So there is this, in this G10 there is a general agreement to borrow. General agreement to borrow means this grouping was focused mostly on borrowing in order to thwart the economic crisis, in order to get out of the BOP crisis, balance of payment crisis. So this is the concept of G10, mainly formed to borrow. Their only focus is on borrowing, right? Borrowing in order to deal with the financial issues. Next you have G20, very important organization. G20, which are the countries in G20? So you have Canada, USA, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina. Then you have South Africa, Turkey, Italy, Germany, UK, France. Then you have Japan, China, South Korea, India, Indonesia, right? Indonesia, Australia, and New Zealand. How many happened? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 3 more countries I have missed. So Saudi Arabia is done, no? South Africa, Saudi Arabia is also there. 2 more countries I have missed. So there are 20 countries in G20. So they are mostly developed countries or emerging economies. Developed and developing countries, both are there. Advanced and emerging markets. So why was it formed? So in 1997, in East Asia, East Asian tigers. So Asian countries, there was a crisis, right? I told you, all the foreign investment went out of the Southeast Asian countries. So the tiger economies failed. Then only this 1997 G20 gets formed. So in 1999, it was formed. 1999 is the year G20 gets formed. So it focuses on financial stability across the world. It also focuses on economic issues, right? It also focuses on technological issues, right? Nowadays it is focusing on the environmental issues as well, right? So the recent one is G20 has given a global minimum corporate tax. Global minimum corporate tax of 15%. 15% has been given. So that is corporate tax is corporates. How much we have to tax the corporates? The G20 says we should tax them at 15%. Right? With respect to G7 or G20, there is one concept called Build Back Better World, BBBW. So it is either G7 or G20 has given the G7. So G7 has given this concept of Build Back Better World, BBBW. So global corporate tax, recent current affairs, G20, G7, BBBW. Next, focus on financial stability. 2008 crisis, financial crisis, Lehman Brothers, USA, subprime lending crisis. So till then what they were meeting at financial ministers at central bank governor level. Till 2008, they were meeting just financial ministers or central bank governors used to meet under G20. Post 2008 crisis, now they are meeting under head of state or head of government. That is, it has been upgraded to president or prime minister level, right? So that is the concept. Now head of state or head of government is meeting G20. So the recent, who was the recent host of G20? Virtual meet, it was virtually held. So I think it is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia held it virtually, right? Next, not only these countries, yeah, under this, see, 18 countries I told you, no, EU is also a member. EU is also a member. One member I am missing out of totally 20, right? So it also has many ex officio members. Ex officio members, and we have representation from World Trade Organization, we have representation from IMF, we have representation from World Bank, right? These are the ex officio members. So many other members are there. Next we focus on G24. G24, just remember, it's a grouping of developing countries. It was formed in 1971. It was 1971. It focuses on developing countries' interest. G24. It meets on twice a year, biannual. Right? Next you have G77. It was formed in 1964. 1964. It also focuses on developing countries' collective interest. That is, collective interest in World Trade Organization. Then collective interest in global trade, climate issues, everything, political issues, everything will be discussed under G77, right? Their main focus is to democratize the world order. That is, make the global world. So now UN is mostly controlled by the P5 countries, permanent members. Who are the permanent members? USA, China, Russia, France, UK. So they want to democratize it to all the members, right? That is one of the goals. Though the name is G77, today the numbers are 134 countries totally, right? Next you have institutions. So the first institution we are going to talk about is Asian Development Bank, ADB. Asian Development Bank. What does it? When was it formed? So, Asian Development Bank, it is headquarters is in Manila, Philippines, right? Philippines. So, this is a regional development bank. That is, it focuses on the region of Asia only. It doesn't focus on anything else. But the membership is not. So the membership is not only Asian countries. Other countries can also become members. But it focuses on just Asia. So who are the members? There are totally 67 members under this. Right? So who are the members? It is UNESCAP, means United Nations Social and Economic, Social and Cultural, Economic and Social Cooperation of Asia Pacific. So AP means Asia Pacific countries are the member of ADB, right? Even India is a member, right? So and also non-regional developed countries. USA is a member of ADB. United States of India is a member of ADB. So under this, there is a concept of weighted voting. So USA is the highest shareholder. USA is the highest shareholder in ADB, right? So there is a weighted voting concept. What is weighted voting? Means how much you are going to contribute or how much big your economy is. How much you are going to contribute, how much big your economy is, based on that your voting power will be given, right? Next, it will help the developing member countries from Asia and Pacific region, Pacific Ocean and Asian region, who are the developing countries. Those people will be helped under this, right? So why ADB? Because World Bank and IMF is not enough to be the global, fill the gap of the global financial architecture, right? So it has many stakeholders, not only government, it will have private members also, private members, civil society, industry, everything will be, everyone will be stakeholders in this. Everyone's opinion is counted. So it has a Asian development as a strategy 2020. Under this strategy 2020, it focuses on inclusive growth. Strategic development, strategy 2020 focuses on inclusive growth, sustainable growth, and also regional integration. It focuses on the integrating the region, right? Asian region, regional connectivity. All the nations in the region should be connected. That is what it focuses on. So there is a report of ADB. The ADB report is called ADB Outlook. This report is given every year. ADB Outlook report is given every year. So it is just like what? Your World Economic Outlook. Who gives this World Economic Outlook report? This report is given by IMF, International Monetary Fund. Likewise, ADB Outlook by ADB. Next, you have European Central Bank. So this is a central bank. It is a bank for 19 countries. How many countries are there in EU now after Brexit left? Brexit happened, 27, right? After, so when Britain was there, it was 20. When Britain was there, it was 28. Now it must be 27. I'll cross check once, because I am very weak in numbers. Okay. EU number of countries. It is 27, I am sure. 27. So after Britain left, it is 27. So 19 countries out of 27, they belong to Eurozone. Eurozone means what? Euro is a common currency in this Eurozone for these 19 countries. Rest 8 countries have their own currency. But Eurozone, 19 countries have only Euro as their currency, or Euro with their own currency, right? So EU members, all these people, 19 countries are member of European Union, right? So this headquarters of European Central Bank is in Frankfurt, Germany, right? It will be asked in your prelims. So they have a common currency, that is Euro. They have a common monetary policy, that is, what is the repo rate, reverse repo rate, interest rate, base rate, MCLR, SLR, everything will be set by this central bank for these 19 countries. Next, you have New Development Bank, also called as BRICS Bank, right? New Development Bank. This was formed in 2014, Fortaleza Summit. BRICS Bank gets formed. It is also called New Development Bank. So the first president of BRICS Bank was KV Kamath, right? So the headquarters is in Shanghai, China. Headquarters Shanghai, China, of the BRICS Bank, right? So what does this focus upon? It focuses on resources for infrastructure. rail, road, port, airport, waterway, all these in digital infrastructure, it will focus upon. Not only that, it focuses on sustainable development, climate oriented development, right? This is the goal. So, who all does it give loan to? It gives loan to not only BRICS countries is the prime focus area. Not only that, it gives loan to emerging market developing countries. Emerging EMDC, emerging market developing countries are also eligible to take loan from New Development Bank. This bank is said to be a opposite to World Bank, but the amount is very less, so they cannot compete with the World Bank. So these are the two countries which get loan under this. So there is $100 billion authorized capital. The capital for this is $100 billion, out of which subscribed capital is $50 billion. $50 billion, each country gives $10 billion. Right? So there is a, see, as opposed to Asian Development Bank, where you will get voting powers based on how much money you are going to give, or based on how much you are going to, how much big your economy is. Here the voting power is equal among the countries, right? Next, the it is headquarters is in Shanghai, and it has given loan to Madhya Pradesh. In Madhya Pradesh, many projects, road development project, bridges development project. So they have given $350 million loan to Madhya Pradesh New Development Bank. So this was the first loan given by New Development Bank after it was formed. Next you have Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB. So the headquarters is in Beijing. Headquarters Beijing. So this was, see, Asian Development Bank was a Western concept. Asian Infrastructure and Investment Bank is a China's concept. Headquarters is in Beijing. So it focuses on infrastructure and regional connectivity, building infrastructure in the Asian region and increasing the regional connectivity. So what are the goals? Goals of Asian Infrastructure and Investment Bank. As I told you, infrastructure and regional connectivity. Not only that, it focuses on development of Asian region. Right? It also aims to give loan at cheap interest rate. Right? It aims to fund all types of infrastructure. It aims to increase the investment. Right? Here also the stakeholders under AIIB is not only the governments, even private entities are stakeholders in this. Private entities, also organizations like Confederation of Indian Industry, FICCI, NASSCOM, all these groupings are stakeholders under the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, right? So this focuses on, see, ADB, Asian Development Bank, focuses on both Asia and Pacific, whereas the Asian Infrastructure and Investment Bank focuses on Asia only, right? Okay, so it has $100 billion of $100 billion investment. Every bank has $100 billion standard, but 30% is China's investment, right? The voting is not equal under here. If you make more investment, your voting number will be high, right? So it has this Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, it has funded what? It has funded your Mumbai Metro. Mumbai Metro is funded by this. Also Andhra Pradesh, they have given lot of funding for building infrastructure. Maharashtra also they have given lot of funding, right? This is AIIB. Next you have European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. See, don't confuse this with Don't confuse this with IBRD. IBRD is International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. IBRD is also called as what? World Bank. Right? This is European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. It is a international financial institute. It finances internationally, right? And reconstruction and development means reconstruct based on after some war or something and focus on developing the region, right? So this is an investment bank. So it focuses on increasing the investment in the region, right? US is the biggest shareholder under this. Even though it is European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, US is the biggest shareholder. It focuses on investing in various projects, infrastructure projects, road projects, port projects, trade, import, export, all these things. London is the headquarters for this bank. It is headquartered in London, right? So, who are the members of this EBRD? EBRD, who are the members? So, the members are confined to only those countries which have market economy and multi-party democracy. So, is India eligible? Yes, because India is a multi-party democracy. India is a market economy. Is China eligible? No, because there is no multi-party democracy. Market economy, they have a different model. State-led market economy. So, only these countries, Western developed countries are member to this. India is a member to this. Yes, India joined 2018. Very, very important. India is a member of EBRD since 2018. Right? This is different from European Investment Bank. There is a European Investment Bank. This is a organ of European Union, EU. Whereas EBRD is not an organ of EU, European Union. Right? So, this also has both public and private stakeholders, not only the governments, even private industries are also stakeholders under this EBRD. Next you have Bank of International Settlement. This is a very important bank, Bank of International Settlement. See, this bank only gives your, I told you, this bank is owned by central banks. Right? Central banks means India you have RBI. So like this, many countries will have their own central banks. All of them have one common bank called Bank of International Settlement. What does this bank focus upon? It focuses on monetary and financial cooperation among the countries. Monetary means money cooperation. If somebody wants money, some country wants money, so they can take from this bank. Or economic financial cooperation, right? Trade cooperation. Also it focuses on economic stability. Like there should be no recession. All these things are focused under BIS, right? So it is called it is a bank of banks. It is a bank of banks, right? So we individuals cannot open our account in BIS. Only the central banks can be the member of this Bank of International Settlement. So it focuses on, as I told, global financial stability. There should be no BOP crisis, no economic crisis, no fall of any currency suddenly. There should be no trade war. Everything is focused by this bank. So the headquarters is in Basel, Switzerland. Switzerland is the headquarters. Next you have Financial Stability Board. FSB, Financial Stability Board. This board gives recommendations on various issues, financial issues, monetary issues. If somebody is suffering from balance of payment crisis, monetary issues, all these issues, this Financial Stability Board is going to give recommendations to the specific countries. So, it coordinates among the national authorities. That is, national governments, national central bank, everything they will coordinate and give policy prescription. See, you are facing this problem, so you have to have this solution for this. That policy prescription is given by the Financial Stability Board. They focus on strong regulation. That is, you have to increase the regulation in order to be strong. That is what this Financial Stability Board focuses upon. So who hosts this? So it is also there in headquartered in Basel, Switzerland. So it is hosted by Bank of International Settlement. BIS acts as a host. Right? Next, you have OECD, very important body, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Right? So this has 34 developed countries as its members, 34 totally. Is India a member? No, India is not a member of OECD. So who are the members of OECD? Again, similar to EBRD, it is only the democratic countries and market economies. Only they are the members of the OECD, right? So they coordinate the policies. OECD, they coordinate, means what? Every country will have their own policy, since it is a grouping of developed countries. Right? What they will do? They will coordinate among themselves. See, your interest rate is high, it is harming us. Your export duty is high, or we need loan from you. Right? They are going to coordinate among their economic, monetary, export, import policies among themselves. So even non-European states, see, OECD, it is not confined to European states. Even non-European states are also members. I believe Mexico is a member of this, which is not in Europe. I am not sure about it. Right? Its headquarters is in Paris. OECD headquarters is in Paris. India is a observer of this. India is not a member, it is a observer. Next, this ends the concept of global financial architecture. Next, we will begin with International Monetary Fund. International Monetary Fund, IMF, very, very important. Right? So, United Nations, there was a conference held in Bretton Woods. Where is this Bretton Woods? It is in New Hampshire, USA. Right? This conference in 1994, post World War II, was held. Post World War II was held. This conference was held. Right? This conference, Bretton Woods Conference, is official nomenclature is United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference. Right? So 1944 it was held. So why it was held? To regulate the international monetary and financial order. Across the world, whatever the financial policies are there, the monetary exchange rate, right, interest rate, everything should be proper, and it should be regulated, right? That is why this conference was held. It gives rise to two organizations, IBRD and IMF. IBRD is also called as World Bank, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Reconstruction and development, why? Because post World War II, all the countries were devastated. European countries were devastated. They had been brought to ground. So, IBRD focused on reconstruction and development, also called World Bank. Then you have IMF, International Monetary Fund. So, monetary, it focuses on monetary stability. Monetary stability means your BOP crisis, BOP, balance of payment, I have discussed. If there is a shortage in that, means your foreign exchange reserves is less. You cannot import the essential items. Right? Your currency is falling. There is a shortage of goods in your country. Right? That is BOP crisis. Then IMF will intervene. International Monetary Fund will intervene. These two are the specialized agencies of United Nations. They belong to UN, but as a specialized agency. Right? So UN has 5 members. Earlier it had 6. Now it has 5 organs. Trusteeship Council is ended now. Right? So out of this is not these 5 permanent organs, but specialized agency. So International Monetary Fund, it has 189 members totally, right? So this fund, so suppose you want to become a member of World Bank, you have to first be a member of International Monetary Fund. Then only they will accept you as a member of World Bank. This concept is very, very important. So 189 members are there. India is a founding member, right? 1945 only, 44, 45 only, India became a member of this. So headquarters is in Washington, Washington DC, capital of United States. So what are the objectives of this International Monetary Fund? One is financial cooperation, right? Monetary cooperation among the countries. Your exchange rate is falling. How to increase that? How to bring stability in your currency? Monetary cooperation. Then growing of trade. Trade should increase. That is focused by this. Economic stability is focused by this organization. Then exchange rate stability, I told you, that is also focused by this organization. And also most importantly, BOP crisis. If there is a balance of payment crisis in your country, IMF will intervene, right? Next you have the governance structure. What is the governance structure of the IMF? There is a board of governors. There is a board of governors, right? This board of governors, there will be one governor and one alternate. Every country, see, there is board of governor, there are 189 members. So 189 members. Every country will send one governor, one alternative governor. India finance minister is the governor for IMF. Alternative governor is who? It is the RBI governor. RBI governor is the alternative governor, right? Okay. There is a board of governors. Every country will send one board governor and one alternative governor, right? So now this is the governing, acts as a governing council. Not only this, there is an executive board. There is an executive body which carries out the decision made by the board of governors, right? So there is an executive body. Who appoints the executive body members? That is also appointed by the board of governors. This is the highest body in IMF. So what is the function of the board of governors? It approves the quota. What do you mean by quota? Right? If you become a member of IMF, if you are becoming a member of IMF, right? So you have to subscribe to a quota. What is this quota include? It includes foreign currency, it includes SDR, it includes your own currency, local currency. So foreign currency, SDR is what? Special drawing rights. It is the artificial currency of IMF. So and also local currency is also included in it. Under India means it is rupee. So how much money you are going to give to IMF, that will constitute your quota. So based on your quota only, if you want to take some money from IMF, it will be based on your quota membership. If you want to increase that quota for each country is approved by whom? It is approved by the governing board of governors. Then it also decides on the SDR, special drawing rights. How much SDR should be there in the overall? How much, just like how RBI decides how much 2000 rupee notes should be printed, how much SDR should be there is decided by board of governors of IMF. Next, if you want to add new members to the IMF, who decides it? It is also decided by the board of governors. Next, to carry out any amendments in the International Monetary Fund, that is also, amendment is also done by the board of governors. And the fifth function is it appoints the executive board members who carries out the decision, who looks after the day-to-day administration of the IMF, right? So this is this governing council. It is advised by two ministerial committees. Ministerial committees advise the governing council of or the Board of Governors of IMF. What is this? Ministerial committees. There are two committees. One is Development Committee and the another one is International Monetary and Financial Committee. These two committees act as a advisory body to the Board of Governors of IMF, right? So this IMFC, International Monetary and Financial Committee, which is a what body? It is a ministerial committee, consists of ministers, right? So it meets twice a year. And it advises the IMF. So this IMF, whatever changes has to take place, new members or any financial change, pandemic time, all these advices are given by IMFC to the Board of Governors. Next you have Development Committee. This Development Committee consists of not only IMF, it consists of World Bank also. Development Committee is including World Bank and IMF, right? It advises on various issues like finance, economy, war, right? Fall of currency, everything they will advise to whom? To the Board of Governors. So they also meet twice a year. Development Committee also meet twice a year. Whereas Board of Governors, whom I told, they will meet just once a year. Board of Governors meets only once a year, right? This is the concept of Board of Governors, Development Committee, IMFC. So tomorrow we will discuss the functions of IMF. Next we will discuss World Bank. After that, World Trade Organization. That will complete your entire economy part, right? Economy is very, very important in fetching marks. If you look at the Civil Services Exam 2021 paper, most of the questions, almost 25 questions were from economy. Even if you take Civil Services main 2021 mains exam, most of it was from economy, right? So it is very, very important. Please make good use of the classes. If you have any doubts, any change in methodology of teaching, any suggestions, please put it in the comment box. Also, you can reach us via our Telegram channel, VHS Education Forum, right? Please take good care of your health and Jai Hind, Namaste.